Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, bookers. Nigel from Excellent Books. We're up in the loft. We're going to do shelf number 3. Let's get to it. What I'm gonna do is I might just put you on here and pull them off, Doctor. Pull them off as they go. How's that working? So, moving swiftly and on. I have read the Blade Itself trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. When it first come out, I got rid of them first 3, and I started collecting them from when this half Joe Abercrombie, half a war, half a world, half a king. Series of 3 very good books, actually. Totally independent of his other. Just chill that down a bit. Oh, hello. Seems to be totally independent of all of his other series, but they are good. I recommend them. Then we've got the Wisdom of Crowds, Trouble with Peace, A Little Hatred. Joe Abercrombie, you know exactly what you're getting with him. Only problem is his latest one, to get it in hardback, is like 30 quid, something like that, £22. It has just come out in paperback for £8.99. So when I come back from Yankee Doodle Land, that will be a purchase. There's one of them on there, because they're holding World up. Next we have John Wyndham, in no particular order, because my favourite John Wyndhams are the Triffids and Chrysalids. Read them both numerous times, very, very good. But we have here the Kraken Wakes, Secret People, Chucky, Midwich Cuckoos, which got made into a series in England, Trouble with Lichen, or Lichen. You say Lichen, I say Lichen. Triffids, what a brilliant book that is. Absolutely fantastic. Chrysalids, another fantastic book. I'm not going to give reviews of these, because it'll be a long show, because it's a long old shelf. So the thing, if you like Chrysalids, there's this bloke called Ian Tan, and he wrote a study guide. Now I think he is it says here, he's an English literature teacher at Nicholas Girls Secondary School in Singapore. And because his students were struggling with the exam, he wrote this study guide, and it is absolutely brilliant on the chrysalids. So if you like the chrysalids, you're gonna love that. Goes chapter by chapter, breaks it down. Fantastic addition to anybody's library. I thinks, Now this next geezer, I think this is one of my favourite shelves actually. Dead Harvest, Chris F. Holm, The Wrong Goodbye, The Big Reap. Now it's about basically this fella who is about to die, or he dies, but there's a devil, a soul. Sam Thornton collects souls, the souls of the damned. So he dies, and for him to get his soul back, he has to collect souls for like a devil. But they're all going to hell, so he has to reap them. Because, well, I'm not giving them away, because they are, and I know there are more in this bloke's collection, but I got them. Very worthwhile reads. If you want like a really light horror thriller books, these are really good for that. Gull Toro and Chuck Hogan, The Strain, Night Eternal and The Fall. These also got made into a TV programme, but the books are fabulous. If you're into your horror and your vampires, it puts a total new twist on it. Very worth the read. And Gull Toro, I mean, you know exactly what you're getting when you get in with him. He the man. Big bunch next. So we've got Sergei Lukyanenko, Night Watch. Got made into a film years ago. One particularly that good. Day Watch, Twilight Watch, Last Watch. Now I think as well there is one last book in this series. Lovely, good stories, and it's about people who, what are they? They're like, they can go through different levels of darkness, and they're not devils, they're not vampires. They're really straight. The others, possessors of supernatural powers, and are capable of entering the twilight, a shadowy world that exists in parallel to our own. Each other owes allegiance either to the dark or the light. And there's a battle, basically, a war. Very good series, and I think there is another one at the end of that as well, which I've not got. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor E. Frankl. Harrowing book. If you've not read it and you're into your what horrors people can inflict upon other humans, this is the book for you. Set in the Jewish concentration camps in World War II, and Viktor E. Frankl's life after it. And it's what people will do to other people, the first half, to stay alive themselves. Harrowing book. But a very short, very worthwhile read. If you're into that kind of thing, you could, I think you could be, you know, I don't think it gets as much publicity as it should. A very good book if you're into your history and all that sort of thing. Lovecraft at the Mountains of Madness. Call of Cthulhu and Other Stories. Mountains of Madness again. If I see these Penguin, what other library ones, I just get them if they're in second-hand bookshop, because I do right like them. Dreams of the Witch House and Other Weird Stories. Very good. I love me Lovecraft. Love me Lovecraft. Oh, Algernon Blackwood, The Wendigo and Other Stories. He's good horror / suspense writer from millennia, like in the early part or the late part of the 1900s, I think, something like that. Very good, very good. The Willows, everyone's heard of The Willows, and The Wendigo, fantastic. Arthur Machen, The Great God Pan and Other Stories. He's another brilliant, brilliant writer from about the time of Lovecraft. Maybe a bit earlier than Lovecraft. John Gwynne. I've only read these three. Shadow of the Gods, Hunger of the Gods and Fury of the Gods. I will be getting these, is it Malice and them other ones? He's a good writer. He does like Icelandic myths and very similar to Abercrombie. And I do like that. I do like that. Personally speaking, as a person, I'm flying through these, aren't I, folks? 9 Stories by Slazenger. Catcher in the Rye. Brilliant. I like Catcher. The Empusium by Olga Tokarakzuk. Whatever, I butchered your name. That's a take on The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann. I didn't particularly care for that. I didn't particularly care for this. They could have both been, this one especially could have been much better. We're coming up here, look. The Blue Fox by Sojan. He's an Icelandic writer. And this has got to be one of my all-time favourite books. It is just spectacular. It's got 3 stories running. A hunter after the mythical blue fox. A bloke that lives alone who's rescued a young girl and she's died. And the 3rd one is where all the stories come together. Absolutely brilliant. Every time I went camping, I took that book. I think it was last year, maybe the year before, but really quality, really good. I do have some more of his as well. Paul Anderson, The Broken Sword. This was wrote at the same time as Tolkien's Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Equally as good, but just on a different slant. A young bloke is kidnapped by the Elven Kingdom and substituted with his family with a half troll, half elf, and it's the battle between the two for the Elven Kingdom, basically. Really good read. Recommended by a second-hand bookshop man. Excellent. George MacDonald Fantastasies Classic Fantasy Classic Collections. Fantastasies, The Light Princess, The Princess and the Goblin, and Lilith. Really good. Now, I thought Fantastasies went on a little bit myself, but you've got to remember he was turn of the century writer. Really good read. I enjoyed that, and I will read some of them again. Beyond Redemption by Michael R. Fletcher. This is about a group of individuals that are they kidnap this young boy, and it's set in a really odd world. I can't really describe it. It is just bizarre. There's one bloke that sees himself in the mirror, and one of them comes through the mirror and takes over. It's just bizarre, but good. I like that, actually. You can get Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Last book in my gothic horror thing that I'm doing at the minute. I've read it before. Excellent. Everyone knows that. Frankenstein. Just read it for me gothic horrors. Needs no introduction. Utterly brilliant. One of the best books ever. A really old version of Frankenstein. Print year 1968, £3. So I had to have it. That was when we was on holiday. Penguin edition. And revision notes for numpties at GCSE English Literature, which I never got, believe it or not. Wife's a brain box in our house. Let's get this next lot out. Portable Edgar Allan Poe. If you've not, and a bookmark. If you've never read Edgar Allan Poe, this is a really good edition to get, because it's got his short stories, it's got his poems, it's got his letters, and it's got his reviews. Really good book. Really good book. Huxley. I've got to get back into Huxley because I've got some of his on Shelf of Doom. So we've got Chrome Yellow. Another Chrome Yellow, that's about a young bloke who's trying to get in the pants of another girl who live in a massive house. I think she owns the house, and it's like a party house in between the wars. First World War, Second World War. Nothing really happened. But anyway, The Island. I think that was the first one I read of his. Life on an Idyllic Island. I have got the next one, which is the counterpoint to that. On Shelf of Doom, which I will be reading after all my other challenges. Doors of Perception, when Huxley took mescaline to see what the drug actually did to him. Good. This is an absolutely fantastic book, and you can see why it's in the top 100 reads and most big, you know, organisations and stuff like that, papers. Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. Now I went into this thinking, oh, you know, it's gonna be full of homosexuality and everything like that. This is the book that sent him to prison, everything. Now, I couldn't see much of that. Yes, there's a young bloke who's being led by an old fella, but I went down another couple of rabbit holes with him. The Yellow Book, which I've got on order. What's the other one that's from it? I can't remember the other one, but it is well worth a read. Very short, Penguin edition. You know, no notes to it. You don't need them. You don't need them. Oh, see, so let's move along. Move you that way a bit. Drum kit still. Here we go. Jesus, 21 minutes. We're not even halfway through it. Crikey. Richard LaPlante. He is I think he's divorced from his wife, Linda LaPlante. These were like mystery come police, bit of violence, thriller books. Quite good, actually. I enjoyed them. So, first one I got was Mantis, about a young bloke who's, you know, unfortunately not all there in the head. He goes around killing people. Leopard, very similar to Mantis. Mind Kill, bloke in prison who escapes. It's all about a detective that has to catch him. Steroid Blues, and I think he has wrote some more as well. Good author. I think you can only get him on Amazon now. He's not that, you know, easily found in bookshops. Another big dollop here, look. When I get into an author, I tend to try and get as many of their works as I can and read through them, or I have been doing. Fahrenheit 451, needs no introduction. Something Wicked This Way Comes. What an absolutely brilliant book that is. Martian Chronicles. Old edition of Martian Chronicles. Dandelion Wine, that's a good book as well. I'm gonna have to get a move on, aren't I? 23 minutes. M.R. Carey, The Fall of Col. Trials of Col. The Book of Col. I read them in between the Cormac McCarthy's The Crossing, The Plane, and the other one. I read one of them, one of these, one of them, one of these, one of them, did it that way. It's about a young man in a dystopian world where everything is out to kill the humans. The trees eat people, everything. Really good stories, actually. And a good on-off. If you're reading something like Cormac McCarthy, these are totally different. So your palettes always moving forward. And I think that's one of the reasons why I very rarely get stuck. I very rarely get, what do they call it, like, where you can't be asked to read out book that. because I always have a different selection of what I want to do. This year's the first year that I've actually made myself a list of books that I want to read, and it's the 10 Gothic horrors from the start of the genre. So we have, again, I don't know what order these are in. They should be in order, but they might not be in order. Mike Sheavden, The Road to Bedlam, 61 Nails, Strangeness and Charm, The Eighth Court. And these selection of books are very similar to the Night Watch, the Holm books. They're about a liminal space between the worlds, and people can shift in between them. And it's set in London. Really, really good stories. And I think there is one more that I've got to find and get. And many years ago, when I was just a nipper, I had all of William Horwood's Duncton Wood books, Duncton Found, Duncton Quest, all them about a group of moles. One of them starts off in North Wales, goes down to Uffington, where the White Horse of Uffington is in the south of England, and it's their adventures. 3 to 5 books, depending on how you look at it. Brilliant writer. I had Setting Free the Bears, Clannish, about white-tailed sea eagles moving to a island in the Harrison Lewis, where Clannish, the stone circle, is. Fantastic. Really good author. When I see his books, I'm going to get them all. And then when I've got all the Duncton Woods again, I will reread them. Now here we have, oh, what, he says. Let's turn you around. There we go. I don't want my pie face in it. We're here for books, Nigel Poo face. So, my first ever copy of The Hobbit. You can see it's falling to bits. £1.75. What an absolute classic. We've got a slightly newer edition, which is also falling to bits, that my lads read. And I read to them, and my wife read to them as little lads. We've got Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King. When I'm reading them again, I will have to get new copies, but they was in me mum and dad's spare room, so I've brought them with me. Once again, I never kept them, did I? Got rid of them all. So we also have Tree and Leaf, his poetry and some short stories. Culverio, that's quite a good story. And Beren and Luthien. That's hardback, that one. that's a good story as well. Now here we have my Cormac McCarthy's. If you're reading Cormac McCarthy books, what I recommend you do is you go on the internet and you find your whichever book it is. Let's find one where she's got a lot of, say, Cities of the Plain. Because there's a lot of Spanish in it, and Mexican. Muggins don't speak Spanish or Mexican, so download off the internet, just spend an afternoon writing in pencil on sticky notes in your book, however you want to do it, the quotes that are in and the language that's in Spanish and Mexican, because it will save you so much time. And that's on any of his works. If you was gonna read Cormac McCarthy, that is definitely the way to go. We also have, courtesy of Lucy at work, The Kaluki Problem, which is a little article about how the development of language and how dreams influence the day's language, basically. But she downloaded me that because I'm a monkey and couldn't do it. Thank you, Lucy at work. Here we go then. So these might not be in order. I'm just going to do them as they come off. Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian. Everyone struggles with this, and really it is based on true characters, you know. Scalp hunters, the scalp hunting gang, the Glanton gang that were paid to scalp Mexicans and Indians and anyone with long black dark hair to make money. It is a harrowing book. It is particularly violent, but I gave it to my lad to read and he read it and he was like, what's everyone talking about? Because you've only got to go on some of the video games now that the kids have and talk about violence. It is just unbelievable. So yes, it is a particularly violent book, but it is absolutely incredible and absolutely worth your time and effort putting into it. So let's go then. Child of God. Another quite hard, harrowing book. All of these are quite hardcore books. Very good though. Outer Dark. The Orchard Keeper. No Country for Old Men, made into that film. Really good book. The book is better than the film in my opinion. Sutri. The Road by Cormac McCarthy, dystopian, made into a film. Quite harrowing, the scene where he goes down into the cellar and there's all them people in various states of dismemberment where the survivors are eating them, and him and his little lad's got to get out. Is quite in the book it is quite an intense moment. The movies don't gloss over it, but the book, that chapter is quite full on, I thought, And there's not a great deal that shocks me, to be honest. Not with what I do every day. Stella Maris and The Passenger. These are one book. Don't read one and then not think. Don't read Stella Maris and not read The Passenger first, because if you do it the other way round, it won't be as good a read for you. You've got to read The Passenger first, then everything will come in Stella Maris. Really good books. Just before he died, these come out, and I think, to be honest, he only brought them out as a 2 so his kids would get a bit of green, which is, you know, fair play. People have got to eat, haven't they? You know, All the Pretty Horses, an odd copy. Another All the Pretty Horses. You can tell which ones are my favourite. The Crossing, Cities of the Plain. Brilliant. He's an exceptional writer. Yes, there are things that a lot of people are triggered by in him, but you've just got to, you know, you've got to stick with him. You've got to start at his start and work your way through them, and it'll show his development as a writer, which really pays off, I think. I'm going to do a reread of them, maybe not next year, but the year after, because I've already got plans for next year. Blood Meridian again. It's one of my favourite books, this. You know, I've read it quite a few times. As I say, just download off the internet whichever copy you go with. I think it's easily found in this Picador edition. And notes on Blood Meridian. If you're a geeker, this is well worth getting. By John Spake, Sepich. And it's just the things that you would just gloss over, I think. Now, Peter V. Brett, he's coming out in hardback again. Now I'm well deep into this author, and he's finishing the, started off with A Painted Man. Hardbacks, because I first bought it in hardback. Desert Spear. These are about, what's this one? Daylight Wars. A young bloke who finds that at night monsters come out from the ground, and he gets covered in tattoos, and he can kill them, basically. And he teaches a lot of people how to kill them. And there's a war between, and I would like to say, an Arab kind of nation, and your white Caucasian Christian lovings, and it's the confrontation between those two families. Skull Throne. Hidden Queen. Desert Prince. These aren't in the correct order in the core. His last one is about two young characters that go off to kill the Demon King. What are we on here? 40 minutes. Well, that is that whole shelf done. We have my book on spiders, the one below it. My fighting books. I might not do them. One behind me, the big dog himself. We might just go for the Wall of Doom next, if I can be bothered. You've seen a good selection, haven't you? You've seen a good selection. So that's been me talking about books for 40 plus minutes. I think you've had enough of me. My coffee's going cold. Like, subscribe, comment. If there's anything in this group that you want me to go into further, I will do. Stay gorgeous. Keep reading. And I'll see you on the next book review or bookshelf tour or whatever we're doing. Stay gorgeous, folks.